Belcha's barn is the first boss in DKC3, and what a great boss to start with. It's a unique design, a unique approach to boss battles in general, and manages to feel like a part of the world all at the same time. This is part 6 of Overthinking Donkey Kong Country 3. As I said in the intro, Belcha's barn is a unique approach to boss battles, in that you don't actually hurt the boss so much as disable it, but I'm getting ahead of myself. The fight starts here, in this small but safe area of the barn. The loft, maybe? I don't know. Before we dive into the fight, how nice is this red tinted tile set? The background is different from the other mill levels too. It's actually the background from the industrial factory levels that we'll see a few worlds from now. Fall down the pit and the fight starts for real. Belcha's at the right side of the arena, and is so big it basically touches the ceiling. I remember thinking it was super imposing and intimidating when I was a kid. Belcha spits barrels that roll towards you. Interestingly enough, the barrels can't actually hurt you. Belcha can't hurt you either. Its goal is to push you into the pit behind you. It can take a minute to figure out what you need to do, but to beat Belcha, you've got to jump on the barrels it spits out, jump on the yellow knickknacks inside, and throw them into Belcha's open mouth. Angle of the throw and timing of the throw are paramount here, as you don't want the bug to bounce off its wooden teeth. Get it right, and Belcha lets out a huge belch, throwing it back towards the pit behind it. There's no set amount of times you have to do this. It's as many times as necessary to get Belcha to fall into the pit. This is honestly one of the most innovative and fun boss battles in all of DKC, and it's such a great way to kick off this new string of bosses. There are a lot of things I feel DKC3 drops the ball on, but their boss battles are pretty consistently strong, even if I'm not always stoked on the various designs. Not that all the boss designs are bad, but a lot of them aren't great. Belcha is not one of those though. I love the way Belcha looks. It feels right in the greater context of DKC as well. What Belcha may or may not tell us about Lake Orangatanga is difficult to say, though we can and will speculate. First, and least of all, the bugs in the barrels. It could be that isn't deliberate, and the infestation seen in all the buildings of Lake Orangatanga resulted in barrels being made that had bugs in them. Not my best work, I know. Speaking of barrels, I think we can go ahead and say at least one of the buildings here was used to make barrels. The abundance of barrels and Belcha itself lends credence to that theory. Maybe what we're seeing in Belcha is the reason the buildings are abandoned at all. I don't think that's the case, but it's something to chew on. Maybe someone made Belcha, lost control of their creation, and the building had to be abandoned. Or maybe Belcha grew in the dark, something that will never be explained, that we all just have to accept. Ultimately, Lake Orangatanga's significance is more as a smaller piece in a bigger picture. Unlike, say, Congo Jungle, I don't believe Lake Orangatanga tells a narrative story or has any overarching theme. Instead, when taken in the greater context of DKC3 and the Northern Hemisphere, the theme of industrialization and its impact on the environment is made clearer. What we're seeing here is a nice, relatively unspoiled area of the Northern Hemisphere, but with the creeping influence of industrialization and its inevitable outcome on the fringes. I think I said this in an earlier video, but this is not a theory I came up with myself. Instead, an article I'll link below is where the idea originates, and it does a much better job of explaining it than I ever could. If you've got the time, I definitely recommend giving it a read. I think there's a cost for everything, whether we see it or not. Can't eat a steak without killing a cow, you know? Lake Orangatanga, with its serene waters and laid-back ambience, might seem like a great place to relax, but that relaxation had to come at a cost. Not the most uplifting note to end on, but what are you gonna do? Sue me? Get the fuck out of here. I've had a ton of fun working on this year's Donkey Kong December, and I really hope you're all enjoying the onslaught of videos. I want to take a moment to sincerely thank all of you for taking time out of your day to watch my work. Our attention is much more valuable than we realize, and definitely more valuable than we often sell it for, between social media and low effort content on this platform, so I don't take any of it for granted. And on that note, if there's something more meaningful that you could be doing instead of watching my stuff, then by all means, please go do that. One last thing, and something I rarely do, is I want to ask you guys to comment on this video. Not to drive up engagement, but if you have any theories about Belcha or Lake Orangatanga that I didn't cover, I'd genuinely love to hear them.